I heard that Matthew Vaughn, who's an old mate who did Eddie the Eagle, produced Eddie the Eagle with Taron and me, I heard him kind of sniffing around it not long after that. Certainly when Elton worked on Kingsman 2, that became a much more realistic conversation. I always thought that was a brilliant idea to have Taron play Elton, because Taron has this very innate, likeable, vulnerable quality that that not a lot of leading men sort of easily find, because they're all too busy being very serious and tough and closed, whereas Taron's actually very open. And I thought that was an interesting idea because Elton is perceived as quite a tough individual who is prone to tantrums and tiaras, and that's his sort of general kind of persona that how people regard him. And I thought that having someone like Taron play him was a smart idea, because it means that you get immediately through that, and even when you have Elton being quite difficult, that you would still have someone with vulnerability there. When I read that Lee Hall script, when I understood that he was a film that opened with a man sitting down in rehab saying, "I'm an alcoholic and a cocaine addict and a bulimic," and immediately I'm like, okay, here's a list of 7 really dark processes and parts of the human psyche of someone that we think we know that are going to be unpacked throughout this story. So that immediately is like, okay, here's a really interesting idea. Like anyone who wants to get out of, where they're, sort of burdened or whatever you would call it, with talent like that, is like they want to escape and get to somewhere fantastical. And even if that's what you're just in your imagination, it's somewhere fantastical, and that's what he uses. That was his, that was what helped him find his way to being who he is, the person that we know. But it's his imagination, so that plays into the film. That's what I take as my jumping off point, is that it's like there's a very early scene where he sits in his bedroom as a kid and he starts conducting, and there's suddenly an orchestra in his room, and that's what it is. It's his imagination is the key to his escape. And of course, as much as that's his blessing, it becomes his curse, and that's what the film explores as well, about about that kind of high level of success and the cost of it. I very quickly decided that I was going to ignore, in my infinite wisdom, I was going to ignore the genealogy of the songs, in that then there was this one written this year and that one. Taupin and Elton are great storytellers, and then my objective is, as the filmmaker, is to tell stories. And so I have this great amount of material, so that when you hear something like "I Want Love," but it's impossible, is a really lovely pop standard, and that's really good. But when you apply it to a particular dramatic moment, it becomes something quite different, and it becomes an incredible storytelling device that makes people smile because of the nature of what it is. And then you can add all this imagery to it as well, and this storytelling to it. It's like a layer upon layer effect is the hope, and that people come out going, "Well, that was great," because you're getting all these different elements combined and coming together. I think what Taron's great strength is as an actor is that his vulnerability is you just sense it, but you doesn't have to play it. It's there, but so it means that he can play really tough and difficult situations and characters, and still maintain a sense of of loneliness, not loneliness, but needing somebody or needing something, and so it takes it away from it just being venal and kind of self-centered and just plain nasty. It always feels like it comes from a place of need. He can sing like an angel as well. I mean, the thing, he's got this incredible instrument, and that he loves to use it, because who's gonna he does it in his other animated movie. He sings brilliantly, but to be able to step up into this world for him, I think, is something that was really exciting. And of course, when you've got an actor like Taron, who's so engaged and given an opportunity to do something where he's allowed to snot and dribble and sweat and scream and shout and then sing a song, and it's like having that kind of energy and force on the set as well is an incredible gift. He was just the right man for the job. I can't imagine anybody else who would have just. And it's not just about a physical transformation. Sure, he shaved his hairline and he puffed up his eyebrows, but there's nothing else that's done. It's really about how he inhabits, that character that we imagine. Bernie Taupin is the lyricist for Elton John, who they met 50 odd years ago when they were both starting out very young. It's tackled in the film. It's looked at in the film because it's one of the great enduring relationships of Elton's life is Bernie and his creative input into that songwriting process. But Bernie is the guy who, whether he wanted to or not, is slightly in the shadows, and Elton would always tries to bring him forward. That's what Elton was very clear right from the outset, even when the Americans were going, "Oh, you're this singer-songwriter," so I'm not, I write the songs, but the lyrics come from Bernie. And Bernie was, this young kid from a sort of, rural community who'd not been to London very much, who wrote some poems and sent them to a music publisher, and suddenly found himself, put together with Elton John, and subsequently this incredible career was born. Jamie was right for me for that because there's a grounded earthiness and real kind of take that Jamie started talking about very early on, that I was really interested in counterpointing, allowing Taron to fly into these extraordinary places, that he always had this anchor. That Bernie is this kind of, in terms of storytelling, is this really grounded anchor that just keeps hold of the rope, that just stops him flying out into the atmosphere and getting completely lost. And this is something that Jamie keyed into really quickly when we started talking, and understood that that his role within it is kind of just to be that really important and key person, that anchor that stops us losing Elton and stops Elton losing himself. And Jamie just has that. He's this brilliantly kind of honest actor who just feels rooted and grounded and plays things in such a way that allows the film to fly, because it never loses its foothold in reality and this really key relationship. And the beauty of it is that they become great friends and throughout the process, and and it's certainly by accident or design that sort of became their relationship anyway. Bryce, brings all that power as an actor straight to the forefront immediately. I think we spoke for like 2 hours on the phone. And she just had this really clear, determined take on it, and I just knew that she was right, because I need someone who come out with power. I need someone who come out with their headlights on, if you know what I mean. And that's when you see Bryce, from the moment you see her, you understand exactly who this person is. And it's a massive amount of storytelling already done for me just by her very presence, just by the way that she approaches it. And of course, there's other actors who are completely capable of doing that, but then it's Bryce, and it's surprising for people to see her. She wants to take on something that is going to surprise and show that she has this incredible range as an actor, and so it's a win. It was a win for everyone really, and it was super exciting, and she's phenomenal in the film.